Pastor Darren and I are here because we've got some exciting news to share with you. You know, we've been working very hard on just how our church is operating during this time with stay-at-home orders. And to help us, we've assembled a really good regathering committee. That's what we called this subcommittee, just to help us think through those things. And so we're going to share some results of a survey that we took that many of you participated in. And now we're going to share the conclusion of what the regathering committee decided to do. But let me just highlight those that were able to serve on this committee. First of all, Pastor Darren and myself, and also Pastor Yasu, Bob Smith, our board chair, Andrew Todd, who is our church administrator, Nao Kawasaki, who is our children's minister, J.R. Hun, who is the worship deacon, and Audrey Sakamoto, who is the deacon of Harvesters Ministry, which is our seniors ministry as at the church. And you can tell just by that group, these are key areas for us as we consider regathering. But we really wanted to be informed by a few different sources. And so we've been keeping our eyes on the news. We've been minding what the LA County has given us in terms of safe guidelines. But we also wanted to be informed by how the members of our church were feeling about regathering. And so to help us along those lines, we did a survey that many of you participated in. I'm going to invite Pastor Darren. You want to just kind of share with us some of the information we gleaned from the survey?
Yeah, we put together this slide, and it tries to just capture a little bit of what the committee found by your survey responses. And so I'll just go through these bullets real briefly. But we had 85 respondents to the survey. It was a good cross-section between the different areas of our church, and so we were happy with the response. Thank you for participating if you were able to submit responses to the survey. We were happy to see that 80%, and these are general numbers, it's probably a little bit more actually, 80% of respondents are doing somewhat well to very well, socially, spiritually, and emotionally. And so we praise God that He is helping our church and covering our church in many of these ways. I wanted to mention, though, that there is a small group of people in our church that our hearts go out to, and we know that there's some struggles socially and emotionally and feeling isolated. And so we wanted to incorporate all of these things in the committee's thoughts. 75% watched the recorded service. We think that's wonderful. A handful more watch it occasionally, and we do know that some may not have the technological capability to watch the service, but we appreciate everybody's efforts to stay in touch, and we got some great feedback on how we can improve the service and our recorded process that we do each week, and so we're pleased to try and incorporate some of those ideas. Fourth bullet here says, greater comfort with small group gatherings over the large group. And so we surveyed to see how people felt about possibly a worship service gathering versus a home Bible study versus a Bible study at church. And so these are real general findings, but there seemed to be greater comfort with small group gatherings over large group. And there also seemed to be, in the next bullet, a greater comfort with gathering at the church. I think where we could probably uniformly figure out how to clean and disinfect, how to keep social distance, and post all the things we needed to. But there's greater comfort with gathering at church than at someone's house at this point. And we know a lot of these things are fluid, and so please understand that we will be trying to move with the tide and understand what's taking place in our community and with the health of our church. The last bullet here just says that the top 4 safety precautions that you and the giving us feedback in the survey said was physical distancing, using face masks and face coverings, additional cleaning, as well as no sharing of items. And there were other things that got some feedback, and we've tried to incorporate as many of those things as possible. We definitely are doing these top 4. Actually, some of the other ones have to do with limiting attendance and things like that. And so that's also part of our effort in anything we do in the near phases. Those were really the top findings from our survey, and we appreciate all the feedback. As things change, we may come back, asking more questions or for more feedback, but this is what we see right now.
Thanks, Pastor Darren. This is really helpful information. We've used this and other things gathered from the survey to try to think carefully about how we will now proceed forward. I'm going to put up here a chart that we have put together that doesn't include everything, and we have to understand that there are some things that need to have further explanation. We tried to keep this as brief as we could to communicate the best that we could, but we have highlighted some areas that we feel like are key areas that will have transition as we move along. This will be on the church website, and we'll have and you may have already received an email with this information, but I'd like to take a minute and just highlight a couple things on this phased plan. And keep in mind that everything on here has some flexibility. We recognize that things change almost on a daily basis. And so our hope is to go boom, 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 boom. But there may be some back and forth, and there may be some changes in one ministry to the next as things fluctuate in our world around us. And also keep in mind that everything listed here, we will operate with all safe precautions that we can think of as given to us by LA County and even beyond that, what we think to be best. But phase 0, what we mean by that is we're really we're in the process of transitioning from phase 0 to phase 1 right now. And so, for example, we have a trials for live stream that will be on July 19th. That's coming up very quickly. We are currently either have had or have scheduled in-person Bible studies. And then the children's ministry continues with emailed lessons. Youth group is scheduling some special events. College young adults the same. And we continue to provide weekly devotionals via email and print. Whenever phase 2 whenever that time comes for phase 2 to transition to that point, there will be a change in our worship service. And that is the time when we will invite people to come and to be a part of the worship experience in the sanctuary. That'll need to be limited numbers, and it'll need to have certain precautions in place. But that will be when we are able to invite people to come and to be a part of the worship service as a gathered congregation. Keep in mind that in phase 2, the worship service will continue to be offered online. At no point in any of this do we want anyone to feel like they are pressured to come to the church or feel like they are going to miss out if they don't come. We really want to give people as many options as possible. And some of you will not feel comfortable attending the church at this point, or even at this point, and maybe not even until this point. And that is okay. We fully understand, and there is no guilt along those lines. We want each person to do according to their own convictions and following the Lord's leading in their life. But we will begin to offer in-person worship and online at the same time for worship. Growth groups will move gradually from having in-person Bible studies to eventually being able to meet in people's homes and to gather in the way that groups were gathering before. Children's ministry will slowly move from emailed lessons to the families gathering to eventually in the last stage where they will resume KWP as we were operating before, obviously with safety precautions. The same for youth, college young adults, and then there will be a transition from communication. I feel I want to try to communicate this in the best way that I can, but as you look at this, Pastor Darren, is there anything that you see that we really should highlight at this time?
I think all the activities look pretty good in terms of what we foresee or hope to have happen. just one thing to mention is between the phases, we know it's key how we move from phase to phase. And so we've had discussion with the Regathering Committee, and we will continue to look at various factors, including how the community's doing, how LA County, the health risks concerned, what's happening within our church and the churches around us as well, to determine when is good and when we feel like the Lord is leading us to move from phase to phase.
Yeah. When I look at this, and I think Pastor Darren and I would say, and other leaders that we've included in this process, like, we're really excited about this. We're looking forward to what God is going to bring about in our church. Now, we understand we're trying to be very careful and sensitive to each person, and we have the top priority to not only make sure people are fed spiritually, but that people are safe physically. And so we're excited about this, and we want to welcome your feedback and your questions. And if you have thoughts along those lines, please contact either one of us. But we are looking forward to how God is going to move us in the process, understanding that He is up to something great at West Covina Christian Church, and we're just excited to be a part of it. God bless you, and we hope to see you soon.